Hi, this is David Sable at Spirituality and Work, and in this video, we're going to talk about the weekly assignments. They're a little different than the weekly assignments you may be used to from other courses, even different than some of the courses that I've done with some of you in the past. It's going to begin with meditation, mindfulness meditation. Why do we want to introduce mindfulness meditation? The reason is so that we can begin the assignment with a clear mind, a settled mind. And that's what enables us to see things more clearly in our lives. Training the mind this way will be of benefit to you, not only to do the assignment here, but in many applications in your life. This is not particularly a religious approach. What we're going to be introducing here is a practice that's actually used at Google. It's actually used in many different major corporations. And there's scientific evidence that shows the benefits of being able to practice mindfulness to begin your work task and in the midst of communication with other people as well. There are two phases to this weekly assignment. The first phase is individual contemplation and journal writing. And the meditation will come before you even begin to do the contemplation of the question that appears at the end of each PowerPoint. Once you have settled your mind for about 5 minutes, then you will bring up the question that appears at the end of each PowerPoint. And I'll describe it in more detail. You will go through a contemplation process that will enable you to write a journal entry. That's what you'll be posting as your assignment each week. You will then begin what we call reflective inquiry, and I'll describe that in more detail as well. It carries the mindfulness practice forward into your communication, even online. And you'll see specific examples of the kinds of questions you would ask in reflective inquiry in the downloadable PDF document that is also posted for you. So let's go back now and introduce mindfulness meditation in a way that you can practice this at home. The first thing is that we work with a good posture. So as you see, I'm now sitting up, and I'm taking a good posture so that my spine is straight and my front feels open and relaxed. It's important and valuable to sit this way. The reason for that is our breathing is generally kind of cut off when we're kind of sitting hunched over like this or sitting like this. In this case, if we want to be able to really clear our mind and develop we could say, some attention that is more powerful than just casual attention. Sitting up and taking a good posture makes a difference. You'll notice that my chin is slightly tucked in, my hands are on my thighs, and my feet are sitting on the floor, just not curled up or crossed. When you're in a chair, it's not necessary to cross your legs. Sitting in this way, I bring my attention to my breathing. And my breathing is natural. I'm not trying to manipulate. Whatever it is that occurs in your experience is part of the meditation practice. So, immediately, I start thinking about lunch. Now I start thinking about my friends and what we're going to do after school today. Well, those are just thoughts. We're not trying to get rid of them. We're trying to just stay right here in the present moment. So I bring my attention back to my breathing. On the out-breath, there's a natural sense of letting go. On the in-breath, there's a sense of being really present right here in the body. And the thoughts are not bad. We're not trying to get rid of them. We're noticing how our mind works. And we're trying to settle the mind by coming back again and again, very gently, without any special judgments, just to this present moment. So you could pause the video right now and just try that for a moment. Why don't you do that? Now, having done that for a few moments, the next part of this is to transfer our attention from the breathing to the contemplation question. So now you would have your PowerPoint file open and you'd look at the end question of each PowerPoint file. And at the end question, you would transfer that attention to the words of the question and let that be the anchor to the present moment. So you might be asking yourself, for example, what is the meaning of spirituality for me? And here you hold your attention to that, coming back again and again to the question rather than the breathing. This trains the mind to stay focused. And that's one of the first skills that helps us develop good communication skills. Having spent a minute or two just saying the question and the words over to ourselves, you can then begin the second part, and that is to open the awareness and pay attention to what we call the felt sense. So now it's not just the words of the question, it's how you are responding to the question. And I mean even inside your body. So the felt sense is not exactly just a sensation, but it's not concepts and words either. It's how your body knows what it knows. It's how you hold questions and how you hold your whole life situation. This kind of knowing is a little different than we're used to in the academic world, but it's actually always going on and influencing our reasoning, what we think of things, all the judgments we make. Here, we're including it with becoming mindful of the felt sense. So here's the question. I've said it over to myself. What is the meaning of spirituality? And now I'm paying attention to how that makes me feel underneath, even though I might not have words for it. And it's at that point that I begin to take another moment, and you can do this for less time, just maybe 1 to 2 minutes, just paying attention to the felt sense. Having done that, you can begin to find the words that are fresh, that actually capture your experience of what this question means to you. And you can begin writing. You can do this by computer, you can do it in pencil or paper, whatever suits you in your situation. And we're not looking here for a long essay, no more than a page, a couple of paragraphs. It's not a word count. I'm looking for the quality of your communication, not so much the quantity of your communication. So before I go on to talk about the interactive part of the assignment, I just want to say a little bit more about how the individual component is scored. As you can see, you start with the readings, then you look at the PowerPoint, then you go to the discussion topic, and then you formulate your general response as I've described. Now, in your general response, what you want to be able to do is integrate some of the material, not necessarily all of it, but something from the PowerPoint and from the readings that allow you to formulate your own view, your own response to the question, and demonstrate that you have also absorbed the material that came before in the module. So your answer isn't just an opinion. It's actually grounded in the content of what has been given to you, and then combined with your own critical thinking. So your opinion is still there, It might not agree with everything in the module so far, and that's okay, but you demonstrate to me and to the other students that you have done the reading. So in the first assignment, we're asking you about what does spirituality mean to you. So you might contrast that with the consensus definition that's there in the PowerPoint toward the end of the module. So, having said that, let's go on to the interactive part, the reflective interaction part of your week. So read other people's initial responses and provide comments and questions. So those comments can be appreciative or they can be critical. Critical doesn't necessarily mean negative. It could be constructive criticism about what someone else has said. But to really be sure that you're going to earn credit, what you want to be able to do is use reflective inquiry. And what I mean by that are open-ended questions where you check to see if you actually understand what the other students are saying. And so you might pick out something that they've said, and you might assume you know what they mean, but just to check, you say, well, I'm not quite sure what you meant when you said whatever it is that they said. You could even throw back a segment of what was in their assignment. And then what you want to be able to do is not put words in their mouth. You're not testing out your understanding. You're exploring what it is that they meant. So your questions are trying to help them look more deeply at their own response. This is also described in the text document that goes with this video, and you can see some examples of the types of questions that you might ask. Then, if you have responded to them, say on Sunday or Monday, there is some time before the module closes for some back and forth, and you and other people can interact freely and have a discussion together about the weekly assignment topic and turn that into a constructive dialogue. So for now, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me at david.sable@smu.ca, and we'll try to answer your questions as soon as possible. So thanks for watching this video. Please don't hesitate to communicate with us, and I look forward to being in touch with you through Brightspace. Thanks for now.